Gio.
BT and Sal.
Evan and Tiki.
Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
On the fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
Good evening, good morning, whenever you're listening to this. It's WFAN Daily with your host, Pete Hoffman. And let's start with, I don't even know what to start with. There's just so much to talk about. Let's start with the Giants. Okay, we're going to get to the Mets in a second. We'll spend the rest of the show off of it probably. We'll do the Yankees as well. But let's start with the New York Giants as they won a huge game versus the LA Chargers, okay? Here's the thing is, the Giants haven't won many games in the past few years, and the ones they have won really didn't impress you. The defensive performance by the New York Giants on Sunday was impressive. 20 pressures on the quarterback, that is impressive. The fact that, and this is one thing I said from the get-go this season, I expected a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau to have an extremely high sack total this year. Double-digit sack total, no doubt, because the coverage sacks that they're going to pull off, and those guys in the front line, you're going to get to the quarterback. You're going to have opportunities to do it, and they did. And Burns had another huge sack as well, and it was just a great day for majority of the Giants defense. There were still some plays that were questionable. You know, later on in games, later on in the game, you know, you saw Deontay Banks kind of bite on the short route or flat route or whatever it is, and you see Belton comes in late and they allow a touchdown. And there's just still some mistakes being made, but the defense has been the most consistent part. Besides that Dallas Cowboy game, they really have been the most consistent part about this team so far. You know, the offense with Russell Wilson was explosive in Dallas, but again, when you go back to the Commanders game, when you go back to last week versus the Chiefs, there was a lot of things missing. But today, Jackson Dart showed why he is an NFL quarterback. Why it's not about how amazing he was. What it is about is winning games. And he found a way to win a game for the New York Giants. Was it the most impressive performance in the world? No. But what he does show, he has that authentic vibe to him that he has confidence that he can go out there and win a game for you. Was it easy? No. I love the way that he went and talked about after the fact that about his, you know, when he had to go to concussion protocol, when he had this huge run of 38 yards or whatever it was, and then they called it back for a offensive penalty, and they pulled him off the field to go into concussion protocol, and he said, this is the second time this has happened before. He was pissed because he got taken out of a game because he ran 38 yards on a very hot day, mind you. I know it maybe felt kind of nice, cool, calm, collective, but the field itself at that stadium, it was hot. It was sunny. There was no clouds. There was no planes. There was no clouds in the sky, okay? And it was a hot day, and Dart's hustling. He's running. He is an active running back in the in these RPOs. He is actively running up and down this field, and that was a huge gain for him. And I understand that maybe the optics look bad, but I loved the fact that he had that aggressive nature to say, get me back in this freaking game. Don't take me out of this game. And it's not because, he's afraid to lose his job to Russell Wilson. He has the job. He has the job. Jackson Dart, named QB1. That's it. Russell Wilson may need to come in for a spell here or there. Fine. But Jackson Dart, that is his job. That being said, it wasn't perfect either. Like I was saying, it was not the smoothest game. The passing game still needs to open up more. Cam Scatterboot definitely helps with the ability to open up the passes and the deep passes. With Cam Scatterboot being this hard-nosed runner who bulldozes guys, who bulldozes defenses, he's able to pick up 5, 6, 7 yards on a rush because he's just going to just track people over. That's what he's going to do. He's going to run people over. And that is a key because to establish the running game that way, plus the fact that Dart's, we know that Dart's able to run. Singletary had some moments. He was the other running back too today, but unfortunately he didn't have as explosive runs as Cam Scatterbo has. Again, it still needs to be more impressive in the goal line. That's the one thing that the red zone has still been a little unimpressive. They went for it a couple times. Again, the Giants scored 21 points. They should have easily scored 27, right? Even if they went for field goals at times, 27 seems like it was more likely. But they went for certain. They went for it on certain plays. Wan'Dale Robinson had a ball that he dropped in the end zone. This is now going on week two weeks in a row now that balls have been dropped in the end zone. But you could also go back to the first week of the season versus the Commanders, where I think Malik dropped the ball in the end zone and Theo Johnson dropped the ball where he was about to walk into the end zone. So Theo, by the way, had a good game, good response to the past couple of weeks, got in the end zone. That was great. So overall, Giants, a good day, a win against a team like the Chargers, a team that they were able to just bulldoze and run all over, and then, again, found ways to make good throws, needed to create some more damage. Slayton had a good game, and that's good to see, especially now with Malik Neighbors. It's not officially confirmed, but probably going to be an ACL tear and out for the season is what it's going to end up being, unless some miracle happens. But that's going to be a huge blow to the Giants because that was number one target for Dart. And now it's going to be Darius Slayton. He's going to have to step up. Wan'Dale Robinson's going to have to still be used properly, and they're going to have to get in the ball. But today was not that day. They were not able to figure out Wan'Dale Robinson, but Slayton found those open passes, was able to make some big plays. And Jackson Dart is already reading penalties out there on the fly, which is beautiful. That's just showing that the kid can see the field properly. Slayton goes for a route. I think he's on like 1 on 3 cornerbacks and secondary guys, and you see him. There's pass interference. There's holding by the defense, and Dart exposes it by throwing it to him. And Slayton just missed it, but the ref then picks up the fact that he was being held prior, pass interference, get the ball closer, move the ball closer to the end zone. So smart plays by Jackson Dart. Again, needs to protect himself more. That's one thing I'm going to say. He needs to protect himself more. Sliding more is a key. Don't take those big hits. Same thing with Cam Scatterbo too. You like that he's able to truck people over. That's his game, but you do want him to last the whole season. That's tough to put your head down there and run through defenses every game. That's going to be tough to survive. But the defense was fantastic. And again, Brian Burns, Sexy Dexy, just missing out on a touchdown, on an interception out of nowhere, just missing out, just falling short. But you love to see it. And this is what the locker room said over and over and over. This is a type of win that could propel the team. They've always talked about how they can hang and they can, be at that next level. And a victory like that can change an organization. It really can. And Brian Dable, I saw him in the locker room. He went up to, I don't know how many guys he went up to. Maybe he went up to everybody. But I know we were talking to Dexter Lawrence. Brian Burns was in a huddle. I saw him go to Jackson Dart. The hugs and the I love yous that were going around, highly impressive. And everybody was embracing them and everyone was feeling it. So that was a good victory, a moral victory for the Giants, but an actual victory on top of it too. So we're not just making it up and saying, oh, well, what a great game for the Giants. They played well, yay. No, they got a W. They actually won. And that's the most important thing. Is it doesn't make it at the end of the day. It doesn't. Who cares if it was a sloppy game? If it was a great game, it wasn't the most perfect game for Jackson Dart. It wasn't the most perfect game for some of the wide receivers, and it definitely wasn't a perfect game for Malik Neighbors. He's out for the season. But at the end of the day, they won, and the offer's done. The offer's done for the Giants. Can't say that about the Jets yet. The Jets still aren't. They have a game on Monday night. Cross your fingers. Hopefully they can show up. But the Giants' offer is over. And to get a victory over the Chargers, remember, they're now going to play the Saints next week. To have a victory over the Chargers, it has to build the confidence. Now, listen, the Saints put a little test out there with Buffalo. I didn't get to watch the game, so I don't know if it was as close as the score was made it out to be. It was 31-19. It was a little bit closer here and there. The Saints were hanging around. Was that because it was a sloppy play by Buffalo? Were Saints really playing tough? I don't know. I didn't watch it. But again, the Giants can go to New Orleans with the confidence of, we just beat the Chargers. We should be able to beat a team like the New Orleans Saints. They should be able to do that. And if they were able to get to Justin Herbert 20 times with pressures, they should be able to get to Spencer Rattler. They should. All right, let's move on to the Yankees before we get to the negative. The Yankees, and there's a little negative with the Yankees because they played their balls off the past couple of weeks. They've been playing really good baseball. They get to get game 162, fighting for the division between them and the Blue Jays. Unfortunately, the Blue Jays, if they win, they clinch the division. The Yankees doesn't make a difference what they do. If they win, they got to wait to see if the Blue Jays lose for them to potentially clinch the division. Yankees win, but the Blue Jays do as well, and the Blue Jays are the divisional winners. Now, it was close. It was a tight race. The Yankees did a really good job of winning every game they needed to win to put them in that situation. Yeah, maybe they lost a game to I think they lost one game to the Chicago. Yeah, that would have changed things, of course. But, sometimes you can't live in regret with that. They won 95 games this season. They played very well, especially towards the end of the stretch. You can't go 13-0 at the end of the season. I mean, even with all those teams that we saw, it's unlikely you're going to go 13-0, even if it's the White Sox, Baltimore twice, and the Twins. But they did enough to get them back in the divisional race. They just missed out. Okay, no harm, no foul. There's a little harm here. And I said it the other day on air. I was on air on Saturday morning, and I said the New York Yankees are going to win the World Series. I just have that feeling. They're definitely getting to the World Series. I think that they're going to win the World Series this year. They just seem to be at a point. Everything's clicking. The pitching is clicking right. The offense, you're going to see guys like, I hope Anthony Volpe's hit, but he's probably ended up playing. But Dominguez is not going to be forced out there anymore. You're going to have your best defensive and offensive lineup out there at the same time. And that's going to be perfect because, and you see guys like Giancarlo Stanton hitting at the perfect time. Judge able, his second half, Aaron Judge, even with the injury, his full season has been amazing. And he's probably going to win the MVP. It's either him or Cal Raleigh. I know some people are going to say Cal Raleigh. Some people are going to say Aaron Judge. It's probably going to be Judge. You can make a case for either. But Aaron Judge, put that team on his back along with Stanton, and they're hitting at the right time. Now, can Judge carry this into the playoffs? That's the question. And this is the one thing that I said on my Saturday show was the Yankees, unfortunately, aren't built for a 3-game series. They're built more for a 5-7 game series because you can see the difference with the New York Yankees. They can beat up average to below average pitching, no doubt. So that means if you have more opportunities to see same pitchers or see more pitchers, whatever the case is, however many pitchers you see, as long as you don't have to see the aces over and over and over, you should be in good shape. You should be in great shape. And the Yankees, in a deeper series, will be able to turn over those bullpen arms more and more and more. But when you have a 3-game series, it is tougher facing a guy on game 1. And I'm assuming that the game was, I don't know if it's been announced yet. I apologize. I just got back from MetLife not too long ago, and I really didn't look through everything, which maybe I probably should have, but I didn't really look through everything. But Yankees are playing Boston at Yankee Stadium for a 3-game series. They're going to see Garrett Crochet game 1. I'm assuming. And Garrett Crochet is a great pitcher, and the Yankees against great pitchers have issues hitting off of great pitchers. It just is what it is. They are just not as good hitting off of Garrett Crochet with a Tarek Skubal, you name it, the top-end pitchers, the best pitchers in the league, the Yankees have an issue. It's probably because Garrett Crochet is an ace, and he's really good. I'm sure if Max Fried was not on the Yankees and they faced Max Fried, they wouldn't be able to hit him either. So that being said, Garrett Crochet, if that you lock that up as a W for the Red Sox, now it's not a best-of-3 series, it's a 2-game series. And the Yankees got to win two in a row. Can they do it? Of course they can. Will they do it? That's a coin toss. You know, it really truly is, because you just don't want to run into a pitcher that's super hot. And your pitchers are good too. You know, we've talked about it. Fried, Rodon have been amazing the past few weeks. And, you know, it's a toss-up between the other guys. Luis Gil's pitched really well as of late. And then, you know, you don't really have to worry about Will Warren. You don't have to worry about Schlittler this series specifically. And your bullpen hopefully can hold up. But that being said, it is now because of the shorter series, it is not a guarantee that you're just going to walk out of there and move on to the next round. You have a good advantage being at home. You have a good advantage having Giancarlo Stanton on your team. I'm not going to say Aaron Judge, because Judge, we know in the playoffs doesn't always show up, but G does. And I think that he's going to have he has been on fire the past few days. And some people ask me, like, maybe it's better that they don't win the division so that the Yankees can just continue to be lights out and keep the momentum. No, you wanted the bye. You wanted the division. You wanted to be the number one team. Like, Toronto is the number one team in the AL. That could have been the Yankees. That could have been a bye / home advantage the entire American League playoffs. That was huge. The Yankees should have tried, and they did, and they missed. That being said, though, can they beat the Red Sox? Yes. Will they? Debatable, but I still think that the Yankees will be representing the American League in the World Series. And I'm telling you right now, when they hold up the trophy, number 28, you heard it here first. Probably not. Maybe somebody else said it down the line too. But right now, today, as of September 28th, I'm saying the New York Yankees are going to win the World Series. I just feel it all clicking. And maybe that's because I'm a pessimistic jerk who loves the New York Mets and can't stand the fact that they just completely fell apart into the worst, longest car crash of all time. And the only way that can make it worse, because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a major discussion between Mets and Yankees fans here. We're going to get into it. And I don't want to do it because that's not really what it's supposed to be about, but we're going to get into it in a little bit. But the icing on the cake, as you may say, is after getting kicked in the dick would be the New York Yankees winning the World Series and Yankee fans having a parade and just basically walking all over the bodies of Mets fans. That would be the final straw for this 2025 season. That would be it. Now, we'll get to the Mets-Yankee part of it in a second. Let's get down to the Met part of it, the fact that they suck, the fact that they don't suck, the fact that they really – there were parts of this team that was really, really good. Again, Juan Soto career year in certain areas, Lindor 30-30-30 season, 30 home runs, 30 doubles, 30 stolen bases. Second time in 3 years to do that. Just missed last year by 1 stolen base. I think that's highly impressive. So you can sit there and talk about the numbers. You can sit there and talk about a lot of different things. Yeah, there might have been funks throughout the entire season, but there always is. It's 162 games. For the most part, though, these guys were playing really well. The top 3 players. Pete Alonso, he finished, 2 home runs short of 40 home runs. He set the team record in home runs of all time. He had 40 doubles. Just missed out on a 40-40 season, whatever. Guess what, by the way? I don't know if you guys know this, because for Pete Alonso, who is not a good hitter, is not a consistent hitter, not a contact hitter, the guy batted .272 this year. Is this the highest batting average he ever had? I think it probably is. And guess what? It was the highest batting average on the New York Mets. He finished 272. That was the highest batting average on the New York Mets. Now you could say that's good. You could also say that's bad. Good for Pete for being able to hit that well. I understand at one point in time he was batting 330. I understand at one time he was, crushing a ball. He dropped 60 points, but still bat 272 for someone who's been struggling batting 240. The year before that, he was batting 217. He's more of a 250-ish to 255-ish, maybe 260 hitter. Finishing 272 is above average for him by a lot, but you take it. It was a good season for Pete Alonso. Was it a great season by Pete Alonso? They didn't make the playoffs, so nothing's great, okay? There's nothing great about what the Mets did. The collapse of the century means nothing was great. And what frustrates me is we saw the writing on the wall back in June. It's not just June 13th. No, there was so many opportunities for this thing to be flipped around, to David Stearns to be active. Like that guy. No offense to David Stearns. And again, I hope you get this thing right. And I hope that Steve Cohen and you can figure out a way to go and get a great team and put it on the field next year, because this shit's unacceptable. Like, you can't have another bad season like you did. Like, this is worse than bad. This is gut-wrenching. This is fireable if it wasn't your second year. Like, this is like, if this was 2 or 3 years down the road, you would get yourself, Mendoza, the entire coaching staff fired, which, by the way, some of those guys might not be safe anyway. But you would get so many people fired for this disaster of a season. You're lucky it's only season 2 for you. You're very lucky. But that was a punch to whatever part of your body that hurts the most, that takes all the wind out and makes you collapse on the floor. Wherever that part of the body is, that's where you got punched. Because when you're up in first place at one point in time, you have one of the best records for the first 2 months of the season, and then you just continuously lose and lose and lose and lose and lose till you eventually are out of the playoffs. This is like, watching somebody suffer and not doing anything about it. Like, we could step in, but they'll figure it out. They'll figure it. An animal gets hit, a deer gets hit, and you want to help it, but like, I don't know. I don't want to get out of the car. I don't want to see, it's moving. It's kind of scraping its leg on the floor, but I don't know if I really want it to help. I mean, is that my job? Actually, it is, David. You were supposed to help this team. Like everyone said, last year when you got rid of Joey Wendell, Zach Short, and a laundry list of other relievers, Michael Tonkin being one of them, and you just kept on getting rid of people until you found something that worked, I praised you. That was perfect, because not everything is going to work out, and you just got to trim the fat. And you just have to find the pieces that do work. They worked for about 2 months, and then everything stopped working. The pitching was no good. The offense was putrid at times. The bullpen was basically throwing more gas on a fire. Everything was backfiring, and you allowed it to happen. Jose Siri, I know everyone can just talk about recently, but what about Jose Siri, for example? Look at him. He finally came back after missing all those games. He was pathetic. He didn't perform well. Tyrone Taylor comes back, and then he DFAs him. Good. Okay. You also traded for Cedric Mullins. That was a bad move. Like, you did make an attempt, but it wasn't even close to the right move. Like, everyone in the world told you that was a bad move. He's not having a good season. The same thing that would have happened if you got Luis Robert Jr. from Chicago. Like, he was not having a good season, and you were interested in 2 players, Cedric Mullins and Luis Robert Jr., who have been struggling all season long. One who can't even bat over 200, but I'm really interested in him because, the future. The future is now, buddy. When you have a team, a payroll of over $300 million, when you have Juan Soto, when you have Francisco Lindor, when you have Pete Alonso, future's now. There's no, well, let's try to build it for the next couple of years and then everything will hit. No. It's right now the future. And you screwed this year up miserably. I mean, everything you did was wrong. But to start it off, you didn't do anything up until the trade deadline. That's the first problem. Besides all the waiver wire moves that you made with your bullpen, that's what he did. That's what he did, and that is, I think the MLB should look into that and say, you've got to stop this. David, I understand you can do it because that's the rule, but maybe it's time to stop signing up a relief pitcher that you got no more options with. You can't opt them out. You can't opt them into the minors. Got it. But you can DFA him. And the likelihood of him being picked up by anybody else is slim to none because he's not that great anymore. So you just kind of have him through this whole cycle of pick him up, pitch him, DFA him. He clears waivers, pick him up, pitch him, DFA him. It's this whole stupid cycle. And to be honest with you, there is a reason why those guys are available after you DFA them. Like I said, nobody wants them. They're not good enough. You're playing with garbage. You're playing with stuff that nobody wants. How is that helping the team? Because it's giving the other bullpen arms a break. But it's creating losses. You're losing games because you don't have good enough pieces. Okay? Your pitching staff was glued together, was stapled together, was duct taped together with guys who were not starting pitching. And I understand last year you could sit there and say Kodai Senga. Well, first of all, he was hurt, so take away Kodai Senga. Sean Manaea pitched well. Okay. So did Jose Quintana. Why didn't you bring him back? He pitched good for Milwaukee. We could have used him over Frankie Montas. Frankie Montas, $34 million pissed down the drain. You just pissed it away. $34 million for a crappy starter, which everybody in New York knew was terrible. And again, sorry that you're injured, but waste of money. You have money to spend, and that's how you choose to spend it. But yet Jose Quintana was, I think he was, I know he signed late, so maybe it was like $4 million or $10 million, whatever it was. It wasn't uber expensive. I'll tell you this much, it wasn't $17 million at the end of the season. And you could have used what he gave you. He gave you clean games. He gave you quality starts. The Mets were the lowest team, I think, in the league with like 37, 38 quality starts all season. In 162 games, they had 38 quality starts? Come on. That means your guys can't get to the sixth inning and leave without allowing more than 3 runs. Like, first of all, they never get to the sixth inning anyway. The rarity of them getting to the starting pitchers getting to a sixth inning is so rare. But then to be able to prevent the other team from scoring more than 3 runs, it's almost impossible. 38 times. And Nolan McLean, I think, did it 4 times. It is utterly embarrassing, the situation the Mets were put in, and all because of David Stearns. You could sit there and blame Carlos Mendoza. But he managed it so wrong. What was Carlos Mendoza supposed to do? Like, every move he made all season long backfired because A, the pitching staff wasn't good enough, and B, the bullpen was a dumpster fire. Every time he's like, I'm going to stick with my guy, they'd blow it. Whenever he went to the bullpen, they'd blow it. And then when they actually did pitch well, the defense would F up. So it was everybody. Everyone had a part of this. But David Stearns got to be to blame because when you look at the way this team was built, you knew early on this was never going to be sustainable. And not once did I ever hear about they're going to look into starting pitching. Not once. Was the plan the whole time to go to Nolan McLean and Brandon Sproat and Jonah Tong at the end of the season? Was that the goal? Ooh, let's surprise them. Let's bring up some young kids that will really throw them off. That doesn't seem like a game plan. This just seems like a get-by season. Let's just get by to get to the next step. I got to be honest with you. I'm concerned about the next step with David Stearns. I have a ton of doubt. And how can you not, as a Met fan, how can you not have doubt? How can you not sit there and think about David Stearns, who was supposed to be one of the best minds in baseball, a team that went to the NLCS last year, and again, we all know it didn't start off well. If you combine the first 2 months of last season along with the last 4 months of this season, that would have been a really bad team. Now, if you put the last 4 months of last season and the first 2 months of the season together, that would have been an amazing team. But that's not how it worked out. You split it up, and you had a team that had 86 wins last year or 87 wins, whatever they were, won in 161. They went to game 161, won, got the players, had to play another game just to get through, let the Braves get in there at 162, and they ended up making an amazing run. But it was a lot of fight from that team, whether it was the Jose Iglesias stuff, whatever it was. They found a way to click and found a way to fight back. Maybe it was really JD Martinez who really said, hey, guys, we suck. So whatever. Let's just go out there and suck together. What's the worst thing that happens? We go out there and win some games, and they did. This year, they thought they were really good. Francisco Alvarez thought they were the best offense in baseball. Better than the Dodgers. Woo! Back that one up. Who backed that up? Nobody. Well, there was 3 guys that backed it up. And again, I will give the flowers to Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. I can't give them to anybody else. I don't care who it is. You could say that Beatty had a better second half. Okay. He struggled a hell of a lot in the beginning of the season. I know he finally clicked at one point in time, and it sucks about the oblique injury, so that's terrible. Nimmo had a productive season, but again, he's not this is what I'm going to tell you right now. For all the people that say, I can't stand Nimmo, I can't stand Beatty, all this stuff. Here's the deal. If you told me Brandon Nimmo and you told me Brett Beatty were at the back end of the lineup, I'd say, okay, I guess I can live with that. Nimmo's defensively flawed, no offense, and I just don't trust Brett Beatty yet offensively. But if you put Brett Beatty batting 8th or 9th and you put Nimmo maybe batting 7th, I can live with it, I guess. But that means that your other players in your batting rotation and your batting lineup have to be significantly better. Like, you can't have Nimmo as your cleanup hitter or your 3 hitter. You can't have Brett Beatty batting 5. No, they are the back end of that lineup. They're not productive enough. They are not good enough. I'm sorry. I hate to break the news to all the Mets fans out there, but they're just not that good. They're okay. Okay gets you to miss the playoffs. The Mets have to bring in reinforcements. Offensively, starting pitching, and bullpen. Guess what? The one thing the Mets did, the one thing that David Stearns did in this offseason or during the trade deadline, he brought in a ton of relief arms, right? Gregory Soto, Helsley, Tyler Rogers, they were all free agents. Edwin Diaz is definitely going to opt out. Pete Alonso's going to opt out. There's a lot of guys that are not under control. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to bring those guys back? How much are you going to give to those guys? Are we going to go to the scrap heap again for more bullpen arms, for more starting pitching? Can't happen. It is time to put on the grown-up pants here. You're dealing with real money from Steve Cohen, who has a ton of it. Go get good starting pitching. Go get starting pitching that can last 6 to 7 innings a game. And you don't have to worry about using up your bullpen every single game. It's not sustainable. I don't want to see Chris Davinsky DFA'd and then picked up 17 times in a season. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that with Brandon Waddell. I don't need to see that with all of these bullpen guys that you just continue to recycle the entire season. And the reason why? They weren't that good. That's why we were able to continue to recycle them and no one would claim them. It's not a good business, and it makes you lose. I'm sorry. Now, the offseason is going to be long. First of all, the postseason is going to be long because Mets fans, what do you have to root for? Well, we'll do that on the next episode of Rico Bronya. We'll go through how you should be looking at these playoffs and what you're going to do and who you're going to root for. We all have our own idea. I don't know who I'm rooting for yet. Obviously, I do, but I don't want to say it yet. We'll spoil it later. But it's going to be a long postseason for Mets fans, and then it's going to be a long offseason to get that taste out of our mouths, because this was something that was supposed to be, and it's so stupid that I was excited that the Mets were about to go back-to-back playoff appearances for only the third time in their history, and I was excited they were going to do something they'd never done before. Go to the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, because they went in 2022, they missed in 2023, they went in 2024. If they went this year, it was going to be the first time they'd ever go 3 out of 4 years, and I was excited about that. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is a new New York Mets team, a new franchise doing, setting goals and continuing to do things they've never done before. Well, guess what? Nothing has changed, because this story has happened many times. It actually happened in 2007 and 2008. And now in 2025, the same story. Win Saturday, game 161. A must-win game. All you got to do is win and you're in. And they lose to the Marlins 3 times. That hurts. Now, lastly, because it's not over yet, and this goes to, I'm not giving it permission on this one, but I just know it's going to happen, so you got to deal with it. This goes to Mets and Yankees fans that don't like each other. Yankee fans, I know you're giving it to Mets fans all over the place. I'm not saying that's right to do that, kick them while they're down, piss on them, whatever, bring out those receipts. Keith McPherson, I know, is whipping out every receipt he's ever had. I can't tell you to not do it. I'm not happy about it. I'm also not one of those guys that I think that I went and tried to kick the Yankees, when the Mets signed Juan Soto. I was happy that Juan Soto was a Met. I don't think I was sitting there and saying, we're going to kill the Yankees. Blah, blah, blah. I don't think I did that. Again, I thought he was always going to sign with the Mets because we were always going to give them more money. And we all knew he was going to wherever gave him the most money. That's not a surprise. That's not a shock. But that being said, though, Mets fans, if you gave crap to the Yankee fans, and even if you didn't give crap to the Yankee fans, we have no leg to stand on here. We can't fight back. This is another embarrassing season for the New York Mets. This is the culture change that Steve Cohen and David Stearns were talking about. Well, we're back in it. We're marinating in this crap. You cannot fight back. You just got to take it. You just put your head down and you move on. And let people say what they want to say. Totally fine. We deserve it. We're the idiots that thought the Mets were actually good. We're the idiots that thought the Mets were actually going to take a serious run again and be a real competitive baseball team. Where you're talking about the Astros missing a playoff berth for the first time since 2016. 2016. That means they were in the playoffs for 9 straight years, 10 straight years. 10 straight years. 10 straight years. The Mets can't go 3 in a row. 3 out of 4 they can't do. 10 straight years. I wish. That's where the Mets are supposed to be. That's where David Stearns was supposed to bring this team. That's where when Steve Cohen bought this team, the expectation was they are going to be a contender. They're going to be the Dodgers. They're going to be the Astros. They're going to be the Yankees. And we understand that, yes, sometimes there are hiccups. Even the Yankees missed the playoffs. The Dodgers missed the playoffs at one point in time before they were able to scam the entire world and be able to pick up Shohei Ohtani for peanuts for over 10 years, and then they had to defer the rest of the money and defer the rest of the money for the entire rest of the team too. But that's besides the point. The Mets were supposed to be competitive. The Mets were supposed to be this team that every year they're in it, and they're just not that. And there's many reasons why this failed. And David Stearns is going to be numero uno to blame here. And I'll tell you this much. During the offseason, it's going to be a lot of talk about Diaz, a lot of talk about Alonso. And I don't like the fact that we have to talk about this because I think it's unnecessary. I think you just sign them within the first day of free agency. I think you just make them an offer that they can't refuse and make them a part of this team for a long time. And don't sit there and say, well, we can only give you a 2-year deal. Well, I'll give you a third with an option. No, sign them. Shut the hell up, sign these guys, and move on to the other things you have to focus on. However, I don't think David Stearns is going to sign Pete Alonso. And I keep on saying that, and I was convinced last year he wasn't going to sign him. I know that it happened. That was because Steve Cohen. Juan Soto got signed because of Steve Cohen. This is not David Stearns' way of thinking. He doesn't do this. He doesn't go out of his way and give a ton of money to 1 or 2 guys. And if he does, then it's a lot of cheap labor. A lot of cheap labor. I don't think he's set for this. Now that I'm seeing it, how the second season went, I don't think he's set for to be in a big market and to take Steve Cohen's money and invest it well, because he's going to always think of, I don't need to do this. I could cut corners and go this way, and this will be good, and there'll be value behind it. We don't have time for value. You know what value gets you? Chaim Bloom, who went from the Rays to the Red Sox, traded away Mookie Betts to the Dodgers. You know what that got Chaim Bloom? Fired. And the Red Sox are now back in the playoffs for the first time since 2021, I think it was, or whatever it is. They built to get back. But that wasn't from Bloom. That was the next guy. Bloom was done. And David Stearns, he showed he could build a team with Milwaukee. No one's taking that away. But we are not a small market team. We are not a top, 15. We are a high-end, top 3, top 2, top 1 market, especially when it comes down to the finances. Don't F around with us. Get the best. Don't allow this garbage to ever happen again, because you're never going to have that run that Brian Cashman had or is still having. And again, Yankee fans, by the way, I'm a little pissed at you guys. All I heard all season long, get rid of Cashman, get rid of Boone, this team's going to blow up, I hate this team, blah, 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 blah. You just missed out on winning the division, and you just missed out on being the number 1 team in the American League. And you still want to blow it up? You still want to miss the playoffs? Because that's what a lot of people are saying. I hope they miss the playoffs. I hope that. Where are those people standing up and telling them, ugh, I can't believe we made the playoffs. This is terrible. This is awful. This is the worst thing that could happen for the Yankees. They made the playoffs again. They just missed out on being a division winner again. Where are those people? I want to hear from those people if they still feel like that today. If they still feel like they shouldn't be in the playoffs because they want to blow this team up. That is consistency. That's why Brian Cashman gets all the respect and should get all the respect in the world by everybody up on the top level, because he finds a way to put together a good roster. You can sit there and say he doesn't develop his young prospects offensively. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But his pitching has been great. His pitching is amazing. His pitching between Schlittler, between Will Warren, and I know Will Warren has his ups and downs, but they all do. But Clark Schmidt, Luis Heel, on top of those guys coming up. I know Clark Schmidt's on the IL now. I get it. But you get those starting pitchers who can actually pitch length, give you 6-7 innings, go deeper into games. Even if they go 5, it's not every game they go 5. They go 6. They go 7 here and there. They save your bullpen. And then they hire real-life starting pitchers, real-life aces. They do exist. I know it's crazy to say. They do exist. I know Garrett Cole's not here right now, but it would have been Cole, Fried, and Rodon. And just imagine those 3. And then all you got to do is rely on, those pitchers keep you in games, and the offense just win you a couple, smash the hell out of the ball, which is what they do. During the regular season, maybe it gets boring. Maybe you're not thrilled with how it looks. You can't stand the fact that some aces will shut all these guys down while, they bully ball other people. But at the end of the day, they're in the playoffs. And they, right now, I think, have the best chance of winning the World Series out of any team. I think they really, truly do. The American League, they're going to, they should run all over. They should just beat up. And whoever they play, whether it's the Dodgers, whether it's the Brewers, whether it's the Phillies, I think the Yankees have the best chance of winning. But Met fans, just remember, Yankee fans, they are allowed to piss all over us. It sucks. We did it to ourselves. We said a lot of crap. People said a lot of crap. Take it. Take it. It sucks. I don't want to take it. But in this situation, we have no leg to stand on. We are embarrassing. The Mets franchise is embarrassing. And that note goes to Steve Cohen and David Stearns. This is embarrassing, and you made all your fans, the PTSD that you brought back from 2007, 2008, it always hangs around. Well, you brought it back, and we got to deal with it together as a family. Hey, the Mets are family. We do this together as a family. All right, enough. I appreciate you listening to another episode of WFAN Daily. This was a long one, but I had to vent about the Mets. It was we did an episode of Rico Bronya right after the game, but I was at MetLife, and I just wasn't able to really participate as much, and I didn't get to say as much as I wanted. I still would like to go off and rant for another 3 hours, but I got to get some sleep because we got a lot to do on BT and Sal, like crush a lot of people. So I'm ready for it. I'm ready to just, go scorched earth and figure out a way. When we do this Rico Bronya for the offseason, there are the list is coming out of all the people I want gone from this team, and I'm going to create a whole new New York Mets squad. It's just going to happen. And there's going to be some familiar faces there, sure, but for the most part, a lot of guys are going to be gone. And if Stearns doesn't be active this offseason, he may be gone too. All right. Again, you can always follow me at Hoff WFAN. BT and Sal tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's where I will be Monday through Friday. Plus, going forward, I know I said that we do this every day, WFAN Daily, but Monday through Friday, I'll be doing this every day, or Sunday into Thursday, Friday, whatever it is. I'll be doing this every day, every night. You'll be able to just go to YouTube Live if you want to, subscribe it there, or just go to your podcast feed, wherever you get all your podcasts, and you can see, listen to WFAN Daily Live. Rangers, Devils, hockey season, Islanders, it's around the corner. Then the Knicks are around the corner. Basketball's around the corner. So this is going to be a very variety of topics. But for now, it's Yankee postseason baseball. It's football, as we will talk about the Jets tomorrow after their their game versus Miami. That should be fun as well. So get ready for that next episode of WFAN Daily. Thank you for listening. Again, at Hoff WFAN. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.